Hi, this is John Kerner. Welcome to my Feeding Raw DVD presentation. We're out here in Florida. I'm finally able to bear the heat outside, and it's about 5:50, maybe 6 o'clock in the afternoon, and we're fixing to get started on what will be a pieced together effort, but it will be sequential to convince you that feeding your dogs raw is the way to go if you want to keep them optimally. Feeding raw, what does that mean? Pretty simply, it means instead of cooking everything and taking all the value out of the food, you feed it raw in its natural state so that it retains all its vitamins, minerals, trace micronutrients, etc. Is it a fad? Well, there's a lot of misinformation that's given about feeding raw, including the idea that feeding raw is a fad. It's, in point of fact, exactly the opposite. The whole idea of cooking and kibble is the fad. People have a tendency to get everything bass-ackwards. They look at from their own little perspective. Well, I was raised feeding dog food. That's what you're supposed to feed dogs. Well, that's not exactly true. The truth is, every animal that has ever existed from the dawn of time till now, from the smallest insect to the biggest killer whale or shark, eats everything that they eat raw. Always been that way. Dinosaurs did it before us. Lions, tigers, wolves, everything eats their food raw. Only we human beings have decided to cook food, and for good reason. Sometimes when you eat meats, you can have parasites, you can have coccidia, bacteria, salmonella, things of this nature. So we human beings decided to start cooking our food to help prevent infection, which is a good idea. Thing about it is this: when we cook our food, we don't cook it to little brown pellets and just eat these little dry brown pellets. That's not how we eat, yet we feed our dogs that way. The way we cook food, when we make a steak, for example, most people have it medium or blood rare. Well done steak is actually the least healthy way in which to eat steak, and yet it's still healthier than kibble is. When we cut through a steak, we see juices, blood, and all that stuff, and we have essentially most of the healthy ingredients, the vitamins and such, still retained in our meat. And as well as the moisture, the life-giving moisture. And same thing when we cook vegetables. Very lightly do we cook our vegetables. But when we feed our dogs kibble, all of that stuff is lumped together in a mulch and it's cooked till it's little brown pellets, and we give these devalued little brown pellets to our dogs. It's simply unhealthy, it's simply substandard, and kibble was basically and simply invented for human convenience, not canine nutrition. The point I'm trying to make is this, essentially. If you just have a Heinz 57 dog that you got out of the dog pound, who cares what you feed it? It's worthless. I'm assuming if you bought this video, whether you own pit bulls, most of you know me, I'm John Kerner, California Jack, if you're in the pit bull world. If you're not and you don't know who in the world I am, I'll explain it in a minute. But whether you have beagles, coonhounds, or whatnot, you're serious about your dogs. You want your dogs to excel at something. Greyhound if it's running, beagles if it's chasing rabbits, coon dogs if it's baying coons up in the trees. You want these dogs to perform optimally. If you want them to perform optimally, then you need to feed them and keep them optimally. Most of you have my books, either the Dog Owner's Little Black Book or the Pit Bull Bible. You know the quality of the material in there. If you have bought this DVD but you don't have my books, buy my books. It's right there on the website. Go ahead and get the books. There's a lot of information not covered in this DVD, tons of information that is in the book. This DVD was done because a lot of people like to see things done rather than read about it. Sometimes you read and you start thinking about something and you just can't visualize it. It's harder sometimes. A lot of times though, reading, you can look up the index and you see exactly what you need to feed, how many milligrams of what drug you need to give your dog for whatever. But because feeding raw is so important, I figured I'd make a DVD showing exactly how I do it. Anyone who knows me knows my dogs are in phenomenal condition from youth to old age. And they always ask me, what do you do? What do you feed your dogs? Well, here it is. Here's what I do. Hang on for the ride. Here we go. Now, let me make this disclaimer. I'm not claiming to be a vet. I'm not claiming to be a degreed nutritionist. What I do claim is I have read a lot about feeding dogs, and more importantly than just reading and book smarts, I have fed a lot of dogs. I'm talking a yard of between 10 on the low end, which is where I'm right now, to over 80 dogs. I've normally kept a yard between 20 and 40 dogs for over 20 years. And I have fed entire yards full of dogs kibble from youth to old age. And I've watched them fall apart as they get older. And I have fed raw from an entire yard of dogs from youth to old age, and I watched them stay so much more vital, vibrant, reproductively fertile. Their coats shine more, and you'll see some of my dogs. I mean, there's just no comparison to feeding optimally. It's like having a Ferrari. I mean, if you have some little piece of junk car like a Toyota Corolla, who cares what kind of gas you put in it? It's a Toyota. You just put low budget gas and it drives and may live a long time. Or may last a long time. If you have a Ferrari, don't expect that high performance vehicle to perform optimally if you put garbage gas in it. Same truth as with dogs. If you have a Heinz 57 dog out of the pound, who cares what you feed it? May live 15 years, won't be worth a dime its entire life. But if you have highly line bred, valuable dogs, you can liken it to a Ferrari. Don't put garbage gas in there, put the primo gas, fuel. And the primo fuel for dogs is raw whole animals. That's what they're biologically designed to eat. If you can't feed raw whole animals, then you're going to want to simulate that with a premium raw diet. Parts of animals, the legs, the bones, the entrails, livers, gizzards, kidneys, things of that nature. And I'm going to get into all that, so I don't want to get all of this out up front. But I have a lot of experience feeding a lot of dogs. I have read, although I don't have degrees in veterinary medicine or canine nutrition, I do have a degree. I'm college educated, graduated UCLA with a degree in philosophy. I can read for myself. I don't need a vet to tell me what book to read. I can pick it up, read it, assimilate the information all on my own. More importantly, I've fed more dogs than probably 99.99% of any vet who's ever lived. I have fed and kept and throughout their whole lives more dogs than 999 million out of every billion people. Very few people have owned and bred more dogs than I have or kept them from youth to old age. So I have seen a lot. I've got a lot of experience and a lot of interest. See, like you, like most of the people watching this, I fed kibble when I first started out in dogs. I had a bunch of dogs, started breeding them and buying them, and I wanted to take good care of them. And like a lot of you, I wanted to buy cheap kibble. I bought $15 a bag. Well, that's for me. And I fed it to my dogs, and they look good. First couple years of their lives, they look good. And then it's just like a young person, 15, 16, 18 years old. They could eat cake, chocolate chip, ho-hos and stuff like that. Hell, they're still good looking. They still have a decent figure, but as people get older, if they have the habit of eating garbage, they turn to garbage. You just see these pasty, white, or if there's another racial group, you just see it all over them. You see fat all over them. You just see lack of health and malaise all over them. They just fall apart as they get older. The only people who really hold it together as they get older take care of themselves. They eat well and they take care of themselves. I'm 46 years old. I'm still athletic. I can still run. I can still box. I can do a lot of things. I'm not out of shape. I'm not in phenomenal shape. I'm not a triathlete, but I do eat good. I do take care of myself. I am interested in my dogs living a long time, and that is what I'm assuming, if you bought this video, you're interested in, is having your dogs live a long time, maximize their athletic abilities, maximize their reproductive fertility. So I've got a lot of experience feeding a lot of dogs, and I've read a lot, and the proof's in the pudding. A picture's worth 1,000 words. My dogs are in phenomenal condition, better than they've ever been before. My hope, when you watch this DVD, is that you will see the truths involved with feeding raw and the dangers involved in feeding kibble. There's a lot of misinformation bandied back and forth. There are people who are adamant that feeding kibble is fine. It's like saying eating junk food's fine. To me, that's the same thing. Yeah, some people can live eating McDonald's chocolate chip cakes and stuff like that, but it's not optimal. Let's just cut through the BS. It's not optimal. This DVD presentation is for the people who care enough to rise it to the top. They want the best dogs, they want the best kennel setup, they want to feed their dogs the best they possibly can. That's who this DVD is for. If that's not you, goodbye, go away, I don't care. This is for people who want to do their best. So, before we get into what is the best and how to do our best, let's bust some myths. There's a lot of myths about feeding raw. People try to scare you. Oh, your dog may ingest bones. And they do these scare tactics, and people who don't know any better might shy away from feeding raw. Geez, I don't want my dog to eat bones, or it could get salmonella and bacterial poison, and it could die. There's a lot of, let's not call it outright lies, because it's possible. It's possible these things can happen. I've never had it in 8 years feeding over 40, 50, 60 dogs raw. Right now, 10 dogs raw. Never had it happen once, but it's possible. I'll give an example on the reverse. It's possible if you're a kibble feeder. It's possible your dog could inhale the kibble and die. I know 6 different people whose dogs have inhaled kibble and died. I myself have had one dog get what's called gastric torsion or bloat. She ate her kibble so fast, her gut flipped around. It cut off the circulation to the gut. She died from eating kibble. Now I could try to use that as a scare tactic, but I'm not, because the truth is I've fed thousands of dogs kibble. Only one that ever happened to. I've fed thousands of dogs raw. Never had one perforate its gut with a bone, but it could happen. The point I'm making here is don't let these stupid scare tactics frighten you away. They're not probable. There's a difference between what's possible and what's probable. It is possible your dog could eat a chicken bone. It is possible he could get a bacterial disease, but it's not probable. Any more probable than your dog inhaling a kibble thing and falling over dead, or having gastric torsion. It's possible, it's not probable. So, let's bust some myths right now before we get into anything else. Let us bust some myths, break them all to pieces, so that we can lay the foundation for building a good raw feeding regimen for you and your dogs, all right? Okay, let's go.